story right now. I'll give you guys some context on it in just a minute. But I said that I was like, it feels like it's been.
I respect you too. The same exact thing. I just know this time we just felt like, we want to throw this on. We did a lot of episodes when we lived in LA, which was like, 450 episodes ago when we started at episode 1. So where it's like we got that idea of starting a podcast when we were in Ty Lopez's business brother, I remember. I think that was like 2016, early 2016.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. Chris, what is going on?
What's up, guys? Feels like it's been a minute.
Well, I was just recording a story right now. I'll give you guys some context on that in just a minute. But I said that I was like, it feels like it's been a minute since doing some recordings, and that's just because also too, guys, we batch up podcast episodes, so we do them every 4 to 6 weeks. But it seems like it's like so long.
It is.
I don't really like waiting that long, so we'll definitely make some changes to that, with the show and just the structure of that. But yeah, just something to kind of just kick this off with. But I mean, man, I'm excited for today. I'm really excited for today's episode, and I woke up today too, just in a really, really good mood, just feeling just really blessed, just highly favored by the Lord. And reason being is because this is episode 450 that we are recording right now at this minute, and it's a huge milestone. I was literally thinking about this when I was kind of even putting somewhat of a structure to this. I mean, a lot of this is going to be free flow today, but I was thinking about it, just reflecting in my mind, like 450 episodes. That's a lot of episodes in a podcast.
It is.
I mean, that's a lot of sets and reps.
Yeah, and the first thing that comes to my mind, man, is like, 450 episodes ago when we started at episode 1, right? So where it's like, we got that idea of starting a podcast when we were in Ty Lopez's business builder, I remember.
Yeah.
But I think that was late 2016 or early 2017, and I can't remember off the top of my head when we did that very first podcast, but it was around 2017, maybe 2016.
It was probably like 2016, because it's been almost about 6 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was doing the math. Like, you put out one episode per week, right? There's 52 weeks in the year. I mean, yeah, that's about 300. That's about like four years. And then we started doing 2 episodes per week, which doubled it up, and that's how we caught up with that. But I mean, yeah, it's been like 6 years.
Yeah,
no joke.
Crazy, man. Yeah.
And still, we're not even at the 500 mark.
Exactly.
But I mean, this is 450, and it's huge, and I'm really, really blessed, and I'm really grateful for you. I mean that,
Thanks,
just
man.
for putting in the sets and reps of this, not giving up, just the hunger and consistency to get better as an interviewer, a listener, just a host of a podcast show with our solo rounds, and it's just true dedication.
Yeah.
So I respect that, and I'm blessed. I wouldn't have it any other way to do this just with you and I, just with this show.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I respect you too for the same exact thing, and I just know there's times where we just felt like, we want to throw the towel in, because we did a lot of episodes when we lived in LA, which we had the proximity, the convenience to doing people in person. We've had some big names on the show, which has been awesome. The pandemic hit, we had to do everything through Zoom. It sucked. Then we're like kind of like thinking, man, do we want to get back into in person? It takes a lot of time. You need a studio. A lot of things that popped up throughout these 450 episodes. So I mean, respect to you too, man.
Yeah.
Just being consistent with it and staying faithful to it.
Yeah, thank you. And it's just like anything though, man. Like, when you really look back at it after doing so many of these, where it's just like anything else, and there's no linear road with it. We could sit there and have this vision, this crystal clear vision, mapped out on paper and on a whiteboard or whatever it is. But doesn't mean it's necessarily going to go that way. I mean, there's so many different things that come up in life, just adversity and just setbacks, and where you go through seasons of confusion, you go through different seasons of just rough patches. I mean, just where you're just interested in something else. There's so many different seasons you go through as a human to where it's very difficult to just even stay consistent with having a podcast and being like, no matter what comes my way, every single year, I am not going to sell my listeners short. I'm going to show up every single week, whether it's you and I, whether it's me by myself, you by yourself, or we're going to get a guest on to deliver some massive value. And it's just crazy when you just think back at it, just how much work, number one, that takes, but it's just the dedication. And that, again, guys, that to me, it shows, like, this is not about us. It really shows that this podcast is not about us. It's about serving you guys and giving you guys the best experience, and really just, helping you guys grow as people, and we're all trying to figure this out together, life and business and all that. No one's perfect here by any means. So it's like, even when I look back at the last 6 years, how much I've grown, how much you've grown, and it's a beautiful thing. Because if I look back, if I went to go listen to like episodes, like the first 10 episodes, I'd probably cringe. I'd probably start laughing. But again, we all have to start somewhere. But I just look at the evolution of it too, just in a grand scheme of just how you evolved as a person, how I've evolved. We're still evolving. But we're still here doing this podcast 450 episodes later.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, what I want to talk about starting off with one of these lessons learned, right? You kind of sparked this up with what you said, that throughout these 6 years, right? I mean, it's hard, man. You know, having a business, whatever it is. I look at this podcast as a business too, right? To where it's like, you get different interests and different things pop up to where you're just like, okay, you know, do I want to keep doing this? And the way I look at this, man, you know, I'm looking at a lot of things more like this too, you know. And so a lesson learned from this podcast of 450 episodes is like, whatever your endeavor you're in business, I look at it basically as a tree branch, right? To where it's like, if you guys look, I'm holding up 3 fingers. If you guys want, just hold up 3 fingers. Basically, what happens, right, is on this left side right here on the road, this could be literally that discouragement comes in, right? Or anything that has to do with just like maybe defeat or something like that, right? You're discouraged, things aren't going your way in the business. If you look on the other side right here, right, this is basically you lost passion. Basically that fire kind of just like went out, right? And that's two different complete roads. It's basically like if you decide to quit out of discouragement or something's not going your way, or the other way is passion. Two completely different things. And the third one is basically, what decision are you going to make? Are you going to keep going down that road and keep fighting, right? And maybe because it feels just discouragement and like maybe just, you know, things weren't going your way. Okay, cool. You got to keep going through it though. You got to keep plowing through it. Okay, that's that straight road. Now, if you're wanting to quit because of like passion and that fire's not lit anymore, all right, then you got to go down that whole completely new road. You have to start a new chapter. So that's the way I'm kind of like looking at things going forward. And this was easily one of those type of things that I could say happened during this whole 450 episodes. Like, do we keep going down this road? Has the passion lost, or you know, basically is it because there's so much discouragement because it's not growing the way we want, or things aren't going the way we want, right?
Yeah, that's good. I like how you laid out those three different elements. So that'd be probably like a really big lesson that you've learned.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because it's hard. I mean, so many different things come up in life. We're talking 6 years. 6 years. Yeah. A 6-year gap, guys. And I want you to really think about this as you're listening to us talk about this. We're just being real with this on how this is, you know, been the last 6 years of doing podcasting. And if you are aspiring to start a show, if you're doing a show right now, which I'm sure many of you guys are, I tip my hat off to you guys, but it's a long journey. It's like anything else I tell my students in business, you got to play the long game.
Yeah.
And there's so many lessons I can think of, man, that come to mind, but just the big lesson that really sticks out is just the persistence to just keep going, you know, because we could have made so many different excuses as to let's just stop for a little bit, let's take a break, you know, let's figure this out. But it didn't matter. We kept going. We kept showing up for the listeners because that's all that mattered.
Yeah, and really quick, I just want to say, people do that too. And you know what I mean? It's like they'll do seasons, and they'll call them seasons, but
I really don't like that.
I don't think it's because they intentionally do that. I think it's because they run out of content or they're burnt out, and then they say, oh, I'm going to do a season, I'm going to resume it.
Yeah, you know? and instead of being real and talk about like what season you're going through, maybe you're going through a really crappy season. Maybe business isn't well. Maybe you went through a breakup. Maybe you went through like you know, a divorce. Who knows?
Yeah.
But people, they stop, and it just, to me, that sells the listener short as well too, because it's not being authentic. You're not taking them through this journey as well too. And this is why we named this podcast Dynamic Lifestyle, because your lifestyle should be dynamic. It's going to be based around health, wealth, love, and happiness. It's mind, body, spirit, soul.
Yeah.
But it's also too that we're going to go through shitty seasons of life.
Exactly.
It's dynamic, and you got to build yourself as a dynamic person. Just again in all those different areas that I said.
Yeah, exactly. Man.
Yeah, but it's crazy, man. I mean, I could go on for lessons and stuff. I mean,
I'll say one more big lesson I have too. Maybe you'll just give them one more after this, because like you said, we can do literally 20, 30 lessons off this. But I think another big takeaway from this 650 episodes is the importance of building your guys' network.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? And having a platform to be able to invite people on, because guys, like, we rarely ever get a no from anybody, because we can sit there and number one, ask somebody in our network that we built, can you make an introduction? The second thing is if we do like a cold email to somebody and they see that we've interviewed people like Alex Hormozy, Patrick Bet-David, Grant Cardone, Bedros Cooley, Jasmine Starr, Natalie Jill, and they see that, you're like, oh wow, that's really impressive. You know what I mean? Like, why would I not go on there? Plus they have 450 episodes. You know what I mean? So it's powerful, you know, and it's only going to get more powerful going forward as we keep building this going forward. So it's super important to have some sort of platform, guys, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a YouTube channel, you know what I mean? But it's just super powerful because it's going to build your guys' network, you know, going forward. And in my opinion, I think alignments are really, really like, you know, more powerful than assignments in life and in business as well too. So start right now, guys. Doesn't matter how early it is, doesn't matter how hard it is. Just start early, build your platform, and then start making those alignments.
Yeah, play the long game. So yeah, one other lesson that I really want to share with you guys too, and I'll be open and transparent about this one, that about a little over a year ago, that's when I kind of put to rest and surrendered to the stock comparison. You know, stop comparing myself to other podcast people, right, that have been doing this for.
Damn, it took 5 years, huh?
Oh yeah, it took a while, honestly, man. Like I'm just I'm just honest about it. You know, there's no reason for me to lie about it. I mean, I wouldn't still keep going if I was still like, you know, shaming myself or trying to compare. But yeah, I mean, like about a year ago, I was just like, man, I'm so sick and tired of comparing my podcast to all these other big pioneer entrepreneurs and stuff that have these massive platforms that have been doing it for double the years that I've been doing it, that are like, you know, almost 1,000 episodes in. I'm like, who am I to compare to that? You know, they started somewhere too, and you know, I don't care how many downloads they get and stuff anymore, and all this and all that. It's just. It's like this.
All right, just give me 1 second. We'll get back to the training. Okay. Now look, if you are looking to enhance your content, if you're looking to really build what we call a content machine, okay, we have this awesome worksheet for you. So just check out the link below and you guys can download this awesome worksheet where there's like 3 or 4 different type of like exercises in there. You guys can really roll out some brand new content for your guys' online audience, your guys' brand, your offer. Okay. Now back to the training.
This is my own journey with it. This is our podcast platform. I'm telling you, like, it's 6 years in. That's still not a lot of time. It's really not. And we're going to keep going with this for I don't know how long. But yeah, it's just a huge lesson learned to just stop comparing yourself, you know, with other people. And I know some of you guys are doing this now, you know, with your podcasts or social medias and businesses. You just can't compare yourself to other people. It's very toxic. It's very, very toxic. And it's going to just give you so many other false belief patterns, limiting beliefs, and it's going to have you just like wake up in these different moods where you're going to do a piece of content and just be like, man, that's all the traction it got. That's the only downloads it got. But it's like you got to reframe your mind to like, even if you get like 30 downloads, 50 downloads, that's 30 to 50 people that actually are listening one-to-one with their ears or their eyes. Yeah. That's a nice group of people. Yep. So you have to do that, guys. Don't ever take that for granted. Like the numbers will come as you go and be more consistent and get bigger names on and all this stuff. So I just, you know, I felt like I needed to share that because it is a big lesson learned, man. It's hard. It's hard not to compare yourself to other people.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
It really is. I struggle with that as well too.
Yeah.
I've had my moments with the podcast where I'm like, shit, man, like these downloads need to be higher and we need to get more attention, more eyeballs on us, you know, all this type of stuff. You know? But it's part of the game.
It is. I want to ask you a question about this. Like, what do you think? Like, if you could give your best piece of advice just to be consistent with like 450 episodes, what would you tell the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it comes down to discipline. You know what I mean? It's basically just being disciplined to the journey of this and understanding like what this game is you're getting into, right? So always looking at basically the 10-foot view of this to where it's like you're starting a podcast and a platform, okay? To where it's like, it's not about you, it's about helping other people out, okay? So that means you cannot get emotional with the tie-ins, with like the downloads, the likes, the amount of people, you know, that you're getting on your podcast. You cannot sit there and get emotional, okay? Yeah. You have to be disciplined with that. Then you just have to be completely just consistent with putting out like your content that you're doing, right? Having a content strategy, distribution strategy, all that, being intentional with that. But to me, it's just being disciplined with it, you know what I mean? And just staying true to it, like who you are and what your main mission is. Because once you let your emotions get wrapped up into this to where it's like, oh, I'm not getting the downloads, I'm not getting clients from it, all this stuff, I'm not getting sponsorships from it, right? Then you're not being faithful and you're being undisciplined to what you committed to in the beginning. And that's what I'm saying. Before you do this, you better sit there and understand the game you're playing with this, right? And look at it in the 10-foot view because it's a long, long game with this. You're not going to get instant results because you will get very discouraged and you will freaking probably end up quitting and blaming it on a podcast or saying it's too saturated, just like everybody else says, you know? So stay disciplined to the journey of it and just understand the game you're getting into with the podcast.
Yeah, I love that. And I just think that you have to just really, you have to buy into the vision of it. You have to just understand that this is part of your business model. Whether you change a different business model or not, like your podcast lives on. Yeah. Because there's nothing more intimate than you and I just getting on a microphone and just giving wisdom, you know, giving people, you know, our skills and just everything that we've learned the last 13 years as entrepreneurs to interview amazing people and pick their brains. I mean, selfishly, that's a whole hour of, personal development for us,
And that's not even including like the conversations and post conversations.
Exactly.
That's what people are really understanding.
And the relationships after that. The relationships after that. People are in town. We're in town somewhere. I mean, it's a great thing. But
yeah, so it's like really quick, just to have people think about this. Like, you guys think that when we were in person with like Baders Coolian, Patrick Bet-David, and Alex Hormozy, right? You think that we weren't having conversations before the podcast started and after the podcast started with them about a whole host of different things, right? And I'm just saying that's the power of it. That's the power of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, consistency is the key. I can't emphasize that enough, guys. It's being consistent in everything you do and showing up with personal excellence. It really is. Just pursue that, to be excellent at everything you do, and with every episode you do, treat it as like it's your last one, and just show up and do the best you can. Put that thing out there and just let it do the rest. You can't control certain things. I want to shift gears just to the direction, our vision with our podcast. And this is what's cool too, because it's, again, 6 years. Like I said, I could easily said 6 years ago, hey man, this is the vision for like the next 10 years. But just think about that. Yeah. I just laugh at that because you really can't stick to that. And I learn from all these other great podcasters, and I dissect what they do. I'm a student to that. And I've seen how much they evolved in the last 6 years and how much their content and their discussions and their form of podcasting and interviewing has changed to where it's like, yeah, man, like we're on to something. We're doing it. We're doing things right, because you can't just stay in a linear road. So I would say, for the vision going forward, it's definitely going to be more one-to-one discussions like this. I definitely do want to get, some guests on at least once per month. It's just, it's difficult with that for time's sake, with our schedules, other people's schedules. It's just a lot of work, guys, to schedule in a bunch of interviews. And then just the vision too, like I definitely want to keep this, like our topics more broad. I want to keep it in the context of business, personal development, tie in some faith to it, because we are huge faith believers, and we have definitely evolved the last 2 years and become, really heavily into our faith. And I'm not afraid to express that. So you'll definitely see more of that going forward. We'll talk about some health stuff. We'll talk about fitness at times, all kinds of stuff.
Current events,
yes, politics. Get ready. Get ready for all that stuff, guys. I mean, and then what my vision is going forward, and we've talked about this, to where it's like we do want to have, like a podcast studio, at some point. I would love that. I mean, I'm so grateful and blessed that we've had this studio here at this home, for the last 2 years, and it's given us a nice taste, but it's not enough. I see a bigger vision for this, to where I definitely want to have a studio, and impact more people, fly people in,
exactly.
Do more in-person stuff, because you can't beat the in-person stuff. So, I mean, that's a little bit of kind of like the vision direction where I see the podcast going.
Yeah,
but I don't want to paint this large picture either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like a huge, large vision, right? There's a lot of unknown with it too, which is fine. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's one of my visions too. You said too, is I pray on my knees every single day to tell God. One of my well-defined, prayers is basically give us an opportunity to have a high-powered podcast studio, right? For that reason, to fly people in, to be able to share their stories, share their struggles, right? And be able to have that as a ripple effect, into the world, to be able to advance His kingdom and make this world a better place. Yeah. I think we're ready for that. Close to 500 episodes in 6 years. I think we're ready for that.
Yeah.
So, all God willing, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Absolutely. So, yeah, guys, I mean, this is just a little bit about kind of like what we wanted to share within 450 episodes. We don't want to stay too long on here and just, blab away, because we can do that. But again, I just genuinely want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you guys, and even those that are watching on YouTube. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much, for all your support within these last 6 years. And from the bottom of my heart, I mean, we couldn't do this without the listeners. We could not. And, do I want more listeners? Absolutely. I always tell you guys, just rate and review the show, share it out. That's all I ask. I don't ask for anything in return, money-wise. So continue to do that, guys. Please help us out with this mission. But absolutely, I want to reach millions of listeners and viewers at some point. And I know it will happen. I have the utmost faith that God will provide that. Because, we've come this far, and we're good humans. We have good hearts. We want to help people genuinely. We're not perfect people by any means, but hey, man, I think we're the good guys.
Yeah.
We're some of the good guys out there.
For sure.
And we're constantly evolving. But thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys for all your guys' support on the show.
Yeah, and I echo everything that Eric said on there. Thank you guys so much for the support. I truly mean it. I truly mean it, and I really appreciate it.
And as always, just let us know how we can make this show better. You know, we're again students. We want to improve. So reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Shoot us an email how we can better the show, or what kind of guests you guys want to see on there. I mean, we're open for feedback. So yeah, I guess we'll just land the plane there. But my closing thoughts on all this through 450 episodes is, again, just play the long game with everything. I can't emphasize that enough, to where you have to enjoy the journey as well too. I had this conversation recently, just even with my girlfriend, and you have to enjoy the journey in life. Everybody wants to just get to the end destination. They want to get to the end destination. So imagine if you started a podcast and you wanted to be like 500 or 1,000 episodes in and have all that credibility, all those eyeballs, all those ears, all that authority. Like, you would not be ready for all that. I promise you would not be ready for that. You wouldn't know what to do. You could not fulfill, and you would not show up because you haven't reached your greatness yet. You have not grown through that, so you can't get there yet. So again, just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Start on episode 1 and just slowly build out. Be consistent, guys, and don't ever let anyone discourage you. Don't ever let a bad review, a bad comment, none of that shit. None of that shit matters at the end of the day. I promise you that. What matters is you keep pushing through. It's not about you. It's about helping and serving other people. And you stay true and you honor your word, and you stay true to the mission. You stay true to the mission, and the mission's not over yet for us. And we're going to keep executing every single day.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good, man.
So let's end with this. I know we're having a 4-day challenge for health and fitness coaches.
Yeah.
So can you just share that real quick before we end?
Yeah, so if you're a nutrition and fitness coach, we're actually doing a 4-day challenge. And this is going to be called 4K in 4 days challenge, right? And the reason why we're doing this is because it's coming up on quote-unquote dark times in the fitness industry, where a lot of your guys' clients are going to start making excuses. So get ready for that, right? And they're going to say that, oh, I need to travel. Oh, I need to save money for Christmas presents. Oh, I'm going to take a break for 2 months. Then I'm going to come back really hard on January and really hit it hard with you again. So those are some of the just 3 basic ones we've heard literally in an 8-year span, coaching thousands of health and fitness clients, right? So we want to save you guys from those headaches, and want to help you make an additional 4K in 4 days, right? And just think about it. Ask this question: what can an extra $4,000 do for you throughout November and December for you and your family? Just think about that. So we're going to help you guys out in that 4-day challenge.
Okay, you can't go wrong with that. So guys, if you guys want more information on it and register for that, click the show notes. Go to the show notes. Grab the link there, see all the different topics and all the information with that. It is 100% free with that. And then go to our Instagram bio, our link tree. It's there as well too. But other than that, we are pretty much done. I think we'll just call it a session for this one. But again, guys, thank you so much for your guys' ears, your eyeballs. 450 episodes, it means a lot. It's a huge milestone, and I will definitely just spend the rest of the day reflecting on this. So thank you again, and go out there and live a dynamic lifestyle.
I appreciate you watching that episode on episode 450 podcast. Pretty crazy, but hopefully you got something good out of there. Maybe a takeaway, a piece of value, right? Made you think a little bit different, right? From just reflecting on literally the past 6 years and 450 podcast episodes. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to watch this video right here. It's one of our most popular videos here on our channel on how to build a content machine. So check this video out.